Hello and welcome today to my video in which I'll be covering the history of the UK based toy company Palitoy and their 1982 Action Force toy line. Origins. It all starts back in the late 1960s in the United Kingdom when a small plastic manufacturer based in Colville, Leicestershire, called Palitoys managed to secure a licensing deal from the Hassenfeld brothers. These would later be known as Hasbro, for their toy department called Palitoy to manufacture Hasbro's new 1/6 scale action figure called G.I. Joe. These would be repackaged and rebranded as Action Man. This was to help with the marketing in UK and over Europe. Action Man was an instant hit, making Palitoy a lot of money. This was eventually noticed by the company General Mills. They wanted to expand into the toy market and wanted a piece of the action, so they ended up buying Palitoy. This then allowed Palitoy to move away from Hasbro's G.I. Joe and start to work on new designs and innovations, such as realistic hair, eagle eyes and real gripping hands. With the new Action Man, Palitoy were awarded the Toy of the Decade at the London Toy Fair. This was a very prestigious award indeed. However, toy design was changing thanks mainly to Star Wars. Manufacturers were starting to produce a smaller scale action figure which would allow for a greater range of products to be produced, such as vehicles, play sets that would normally be too big or expensive for the 1/6 scale action figure. Aware of the change, Palitoy had started to develop their own smaller scale figures, as were Hasbro with their own G.I. Joe. 1982. By 1982, Palitoy were ready to release their new scale action figure, codenamed Action Force. These would be scaled down versions of Palitoy's Action Man, and they would also vary in design from World War II up to modern day era and beyond. On the launch, there were 12 figures released, as well as vehicles and a playset. They would also keep the Action Man logo to help with recognition of the product. Now, before we start, I have to mention that the majority of action figures being released at the time came with the standard straight arms, so that if a figure came with a weapon larger than a pistol, for instance, it never looked quite right in my opinion. So Palitoy's design team came up with the idea of angling the arms in such a way that the figure could carry a larger gun in a more realistic way. The Dirty Dozen. First up, we have a figure from World War II. It's the German Stormtrooper, which was a scaled down version of the German Stormtrooper accessory kit that was released for Action Man. It's an accurate representation of the German Stormtrooper, some nice touches with the silver badges painted onto the uniform, to the classic gas mask container on his back and the stick grenade stuffed down his belt. He came with a rifle, stick grenades and a combat spade. Next up we have the deep sea diver with his floating diving base. This was a scaled down version of the deep sea diver accessory kit that was available for Action Man. It's a good representation of the deep sea diver with his diving helmet and heavy diving boots, and he comes with this beefy sledgehammer. Now, if I remember rightly, it came with a pump and a tube that you could attach to the top of his helmet, so when you put him underwater and press the pump, bubbles would come out of his helmet, which looked really cool. As for the diving base, it's a great piece of kit. We get a diving hole at the back for the divers to go in and out of, and up the front you have a bridge complete with steering wheel and throttles. Really nice little touch there. It also has a cannon for self-defense. Next we have a modern figure, the Mission Pilot. This figure is loosely based on the Red Devil parachute accessory kit that came with Action Man. It's a nice looking figure. I like the helmet with the breathing mask attached. Nice bright red colours. He comes with a life preserver that was kept in place by a rubber band. He's also equipped with a pistol and an ammo pack. Next up, one of my all-time favourites. It's another modern day figure, the SAS Soldier. This figure was very popular at the time, as I remember. It was only in 1980, remember, that you had the Iranian embassy siege, where you had the SAS storm the embassy live on television. These guys literally became heroes for us young boys. It's a scaled down version of the Action Man SAS key figure, and it's an accurate representation of the SAS soldier, I think, with his grey hood and black gas mask. He has a torch and a pistol on each of his legs and spare ammo at the back. He came with an MP5, rope and a grappling hook that you could wrap around your figure. It looked really cool. Next up, a figure from World War II, the Australian Jungle Fighter. These guys were made famous fighting the Japanese in the jungles of Asia during World War II. He's a variation of the Australian Jungle Fighter accessory kit that was available for Action Man. And it's another accurate representation, I think. Some nice touches with the ammo belts and grenades. He has rolled up sleeves, and also you find his hat's detachable. He came with a Thompson submachine gun and a machete. Next up we have the Commando. I think this is from the Suez Canal incident. He's a scaled down version of the Commando accessory pack that came out for Action Man. It's another accurate representation, I think, complete with his little commando hat. However, for those out there with eagle eyes, you would have noticed that his body is a repaint of the Australian Jungle Fighter. This is something Palitoy would do in the future as a way to save on costs. It's a good idea if you ask me. He also came with a detachable backpack, wireless radio set and a Sten gun. Next up, another figure from World War II, the American Paratrooper. This figure is based on the US paratroopers that fought in Normandy during World War II. He's a scaled down version of the US paratrooper accessory kit for Action Man, with the added bonus of a working parachute. It's another accurate representation of a military figure, from his jump helmet and chin strap to his blouse boots, complete with jump knife on his leg. This figure was loaded with accessories. We got the working parachute that attached to his jump harness. He also had a detonator, ammo pack, grappling hook, machete and his grease gun. Great figure. Next up, another figure from World War II. It's the Desert Rat. This figure is based on the LRDG soldiers that fought in Africa during World War II. He's a scaled down version of the LRG, which is Long Range Desert Group, accessory kit for Action Man. It's a very accurate representation, I think, from his headscarf complete with his goggles to his shirt rolled up with his sleeves and shorts, obviously with the socks pulled right up like a proper Englishman. He came supplied with a machine gun and a detonator. Next up we have the Frogman. This was a scaled down version of the Frogman accessory kit for Action Man. There's not a lot to say here. It's a simple design done well. Nice bright wetsuit complete with knife attached to his leg. His aqualung is detachable and fits on his back just like the Commando's backpack. Looks really good on him, and he also comes with removable flippers. Next up we have a futuristic figure, the Mountain and Arctic Trooper with Ski-mobile. This was another figure released with a vehicle, and originally I think they were going to release a scaled down version of the Mountain and Arctic outfit for Action Man, but somewhere they changed their mind and went for a more futuristic look, which is based more on Palitoy's Special Team Arctic Assault Pack for Action Man. Anyway, so we have this futuristic looking clothing with a helmet and a mic. He comes with a detachable backpack, a set of skis and an assault rifle. As for his ski-mobile, really well designed here. The figure sits in it nicely, can hold on to the handles there, and also you can place the skis on the side. Nice little bit of kit. Next up, another soldier from the future, the Ground Assault Trooper. This figure is based on the Action Man Special Team Ground Assault accessory pack that came out. This figure is basically a repaint of the Mountain and Arctic Trooper with a desert camo pattern. He also came with an attachable backpack and assault rifle. And for the final figure, it's a modern military figure, the British Marine. This is a scaled down version of the Royal Marines combat uniform accessory kit that you got with Action Man. Another accurate representation with his green beret and combat fatigues. I like at the back here we get some ammo pouches, and he's either his blanket or his overcoat rolled up underneath, which I really think's a nice touch. He came supplied with an assault rifle and a combat spade. That's the original 12 figures out of the way. Vehicle wise, we would first have the Special Patrol vehicle, which was an attack jeep where you could remove the roof, turn it into a boat complete with a little outboard motor. You also got a cannon that could fit on either the jeep or the boat. Okay, now it starts to get a little weird, with a futuristic multi-mission vehicle. What can I say about this? At first it's a transport vehicle. then it's a boat, and then finally it's a bird. No, it's a plane. No, it's the Flying Multi-Mission Vehicle. Moving on. Next up, the Pièce de Résistance, the Action Force headquarters. This was a repurposed Death Star, I believe. Thing looks awesome. So many sections here, from what looks like a prison section, training room, washroom, fire ladder for some reason, and also what suspiciously looks like the Star Wars trash compactor and Death Star command room. But apart from that, this thing looked amazing. I only saw it once, I do believe. Like I say, really looks dead cool. Along with the first wave, Palitoys also ran a mail order reward scheme where you could send in tokens cut out from the back of the packaging of the new figures to receive this exclusive commander figure. It was basically a scaled down version of the Action Man command figure. Later on in the year, Palitoys would also release some of the original 12 figures as repaints. I'll go through these quickly, I'm not going to go into too much detail. Okay, so you had a modern day figure from 2 Para, the 2nd Parachute Regiment. This was a scaled down version of the Parachute Regiment accessory kit for Action Man, and is a repaint of the British Marine with all the difference being a red beret and brown trousers. He came with a machine gun and a detonator. Next up, the SAS Frogman, which was a scaled down version of the SAS Frogman accessory kit for Action Man, and this was just a repaint of the Frogman. Then was the Arctic Assault, which was a scaled down version of the Special Team Arctic Assault, which was just a repaint of the Ground Assault. Next, the Helicopter Pilot, again a variation of the Helicopter Pilot accessory kit. This was just a repaint of the Mission Pilot. Then we get the Naval Assault, which is a repaint of the Ground Assault. And finally, the Night Patrol Pilot, which is an interesting one because it's got the, let's say, the Ground Assault body, but with the pilot head. So, when Action Force was launched, it was an instant hit, with over 1 million figures being sold within the first 6 months, which is amazing. And at the same time, Hasbro, who was stateside, was getting ready to launch their new smaller scale action figure called G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero. And that concludes my video for today. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. In my next video I'll hopefully be covering Action Force from 83 to 84. And until then, stay safe and yo Joe!